Hey, how you doing today? I wanted to do something different today, and it's not Asian fusion, it's not Filipino, but it is Swedish. So what it is easy Swedish meatballs, and it's so yummy. So I just have the basic ingredients here, nothing too fancy. It does take some time and concentration. So here are the ingredients. 1 pound ground turkey, or if you would like, you could do 1 pound ground beef. So today I have ground turkey. So I have this famous Jenny O ground turkey. This is a major label here on the mainland. So 1 pound of that, okay? 1 medium shallot. So this is a shallot if you've never heard of it. It's just like, I guess an onion, but a little bit more pink and tiny. So I know it doesn't look tiny in the video, but it's about that tiny, but it packs a lot of flavor in that tiny portion. So 1 medium shallot, 1 large egg, okay, 3/4 cup breadcrumbs. So any breadcrumbs will do, but I always have Japanese style breadcrumbs, panko flake breadcrumbs. So that's what I'm going to be using, but any breadcrumbs will do. And just plain flavor, nothing too fancy with the breadcrumbs, okay? And 1/2 teaspoon salt. So that was 1 pound ground turkey, 1 medium shallot, 1 large egg, 3/4 cup breadcrumbs, and 1/2 teaspoon salt. So that's for the meatballs, but the other part, which is probably the best part, is the sauce. So for the sauce, all we need is 2 tablespoons of flour. So I got my heavy pack of house flour here. Just 2 tablespoons, okay? That's a thickening agent for the sauce. Okay, that's for the gravy sauce. All right. 2 cups of beef broth. So this is what I have today. Beef broth, okay? It doesn't have to be organic. It's just what I have. And this beef broth already has, okay, water, beef, cane sugar, onion powder, yeast extract, garlic powder, sea salt, caramel color, and black pepper. So I'm not going to be adding much more because this one already has a lot of flavor. So for this recipe, if you want the kind of flavor I'm talking about, then get this one so you don't have to add anything much more. So if you had a plain beef broth, I would say add some onion powder, about 1 teaspoon onion powder if it was plain. But if you could get this one, okay? So the next thing is 1/2 cup heavy cream. So here is my heavy cream, and that makes the gravy creamy and yummy. 1/2 teaspoon salt, okay? And 1/2 teaspoon pepper. All right. So let's get to the recipe. I'm going to later put in a hyperlapse so you can kind of see it quickly cook along. And then we'll talk about the end of the recipe. Okay, so let's get my bowl. All right, let's just start adding 1 pound ground turkey. Okay, 1 pound ground turkey. 1 medium shallot. So we got to get that open and braided. So this is what the inside of the shallot looks like. Okay, so let's get that braided into the ground beef here. Ooh, I'm going to put on my goggles here because my eyes are already tearing. Okay, let me see if I can get a more of a fine grater so we can get more of the shallot. We want to maximize our shallots. So this is just a little bit more fine. The other ones were kind of bigger holes. So we don't want to waste any of this flavoring. All right, now 1 large egg. All right. 3/4 cup breadcrumbs. 3/4 cup breadcrumbs. 1/2 teaspoon salt. All right, so we're just going to get to mixing. And that is all. That is all you have to do for the meatballs. That was 1 pound ground turkey, 1 medium shallot, 1 large egg, 3/4 cup breadcrumbs, and 1/2 teaspoon salt. So I'm just going to get to hand mixing here. And rolling. And so when I was looking through the internet trying to find an easy meatball recipe, I was not too keen in the recipe having too much milk in it. So as you notice, I didn't put any milk in this and it turned out just fine. So I don't want to over mix this too much. So I'll just give it a couple more mix in here with my hands and we'll start rolling. Okay, ready for this? It's like rolling sugar cookies. There you go. So let's see how many meatballs we get out of this one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. So it's looking good. 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna mix some big ones and some small ones. Or you can make them all the same size. You could do whatever you want to do. So I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 meatballs, all right? So that's about how much you get with 1 pound. So I would say if you're gonna cook for a family of 5, I would say double up the recipe. All right, okay. So next, we're just gonna go ahead and start browning them in the skillet. So here is my lovely, lovely 14-inch skillet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Put 2 tablespoons of olive oil for cooking. Go ahead and add meatballs. And this, I know, will take about 4 minutes on each side, but of course, if you have the chance to turn them, definitely do. Okay, so set your timer for a total of 8 minutes, so about 4 minutes on each side, okay? So you saw how easy that was to do. So now they get to cooking. So the second part now is the sauce. Here is my saucepan here. All right, next thing is, this is where the explanation of thickening of the sauce is going to take place. So we want our gravy a little bit thick. We don't want it watery. So we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of flour. Okay. 1, 2, all right? And then we're gonna do about 1 teaspoon of olive oil. Okay. So that's an important part. If I didn't mention it earlier, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. So we are gonna basically, the concept of cooking the flour. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mix the flour around here. I'm going to try to kind of absorb all the flour into the dish there. Reposition my camera here. Okay, so as you can see, the flour is being absorbed into the olive oil. Okay, so that's a very, very important step in the gravy sauce. So don't forget that step, okay? Now, 2 cups of beef broth. So here we go. Got my beef broth here. We want 2 cups of this. Here it goes. Okay, so I'm going to try to help absorb the flour mixture into the broth. So when it warms up, it's going to do that too. But I'm just helping it along here so it won't be like this clumpy. So the secret to a nice gravy sauce is taking out all the clumps. All right, so I'm also looking at my meatballs there, see how they're coming along, looking pretty good. Okay, now the next part is 1/2 cup heavy cream. And this makes the gravy creamy, all right? So you could already tell the color has changed and it's looking like creamy gravy. So that's what we want. 1/2 teaspoon salt. Let's just go ahead and do it so it's not forgotten in the recipe. 1/2 teaspoon salt. All right. And then 1/2 teaspoon pepper. Okay. So that will give us the yummy, creamy gravy that we want for the Swedish meatballs. Okay, so we're going to cook this down a little bit, about 3 minutes. All right, so I'm going to put everything in hyperlapse so that the video won't be so long. So you see it all come along in hyperlapse, okay? So what'd you think about that hyperlapse? So if you blink, you're gonna miss the whole hyperlapse. It goes so quick. But you saw me mix up the ingredients. You saw me put the meatballs in the large skillet, and then you saw me put the sauce in the small skillet. So the meatballs in the large skillet cooked about, I would say 5 minutes. And then also with the gravy that you saw me put in the small skillet, I cooked that down about 5 minutes too. Then you saw me merge everything together into the large skillet, and that took about 10 minutes. So that is a total cooking time of about 15 minutes. But definitely watch your skillets. Don't walk away, because we don't want burned meatballs on our first try. So definitely just monitor, or help someone monitor. Get someone to help you monitor if you have to walk away, so you have a delicious lunch or dinner. So that was easy Swedish meatballs. And here is the final recipe. So I have it right here. Don't that look delicious? So I'm going to bring it to the plate here. So let me bring it out one by one. Okay, so the one thing I did notice, that if in the early cooking process, if I moved around the meatballs too much, they started to break apart. So try not to move them around too much. Have them cook on each side about 3 minutes. And then that was one major thing, because we want them to be as round as possible. Okay, so here's the first meatball. Doesn't that look delicious? Okay, I'm just gonna bring it to the plate here. And none of mine broke up too much. I tried not to move it around too much, or I'm gonna have square meatballs. Okay, so you could see the sauce was cooked down well, and it's thick. And remember that important step about the 1 tablespoon of olive oil and the 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour is a thickening agent for this gravy, as you can see. And if you really, really love gravy, you can just do double the parts for the gravy part. Put it over rice or mashed potatoes. And this is basic gravy. There's no liver in this gravy. Or mushrooms in this gravy. There's no mushrooms. The kids will be happy, because as soon as something touches a mushroom, they think I poisoned it. So basic gravy, okay? Basic gravy with a little bit of cream. All right, so looking good, looking good. There you go. Easy Swedish turkey meatballs. I'm gonna just decorate it a little bit. I have some green onion here. And my final thing is I take pictures of it and then post it to my Facebook. And if people are interested, they look at the link and it goes to my cooking website. All right, there you go. I have a surprise for you. So the fun part about doing these tutorials is I actually get to teach my family live how to cook their lunch. And over time, they've retained a few skills on how to cook. And it's nice because when they go out into the world, they have some basic cooking skills with basic ingredients, and they're doing okay. So what I did is this morning, one of the family members did a easy Swedish meatballs made out of ground beef. Oh my gosh, so yummy. So that was, remember I mentioned earlier you could do ground turkey or ground beef. So I went ahead and did ground beef. And there it is. Okay, so of course these are going to be a little bit darker than the turkey, but the sauce is exactly the same. everything is the same except for the protein, okay? So if you wanted to do ground turkey, I would say give it a try. Okay, so those panko breadcrumbs or plain breadcrumbs helps keep everything, kind of absorbs it with the egg and helps keep things together. So if you wanted to go even more healthy, ground up some turkey and do some ground turkey Swedish, ground up some chicken and do some ground chicken Swedish meatballs. Okay, so here you go. So here's a close-up of the ground beef. And this gravy is just as yummy. You see it there. And just as plain, no mushrooms in this one. Okay. So that looks about the same, maybe 13, 14 big meatballs. And that 1 pound of ground beef there. I'm just going to pour the yummy, yummy gravy over the top. And you can definitely eat this stuff plain by itself. You can put it over rice, you can put it over mashed potatoes, or you can even put it over some pasta, and it all tastes very, very delicious. But I think I'll just kind of just stay away from the carbohydrates and eat it like this. I know that there's some breadcrumbs in there, but if you think about how much it's dispersed through the 1 pound, it's not a lot. All right, here is the green onions. Doesn't that not look so, oh no, so delicious? I think I'll have to post this to the Hawaiian cooking site. All right, so here we go. Easy turkey Swedish meatballs. Easy ground beef Swedish meatballs. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that, and try it one day and let me know how it goes. I'll be also putting the recipe underneath the tiny arrow underneath the video. I'll put that in text so that you could gather your ingredients beforehand. Okay, take care.